I did FE 10 years ago, it was such an amazing experience for growth and making new friends. I cherished the time and I'd really like to experience that camaraderie and sense of purpose again. Plus, I think it'd be really cool to do the last FE since I did the first. My fear is being vulnerable and showing that vulnerability and truth to strangers. It's easy to hide behind a mask of humor and sarcasm, but I feel like storytelling requires you to be raw, and that's super scary. I chose storytelling because I feel like I have a story to tell, and I'm looking for an outlet to share that story and actually learn how to bring the story to life. I want to learn this craft in the supportive and fun environment of FE. The FE community is a great place to put myself in a vulnerable position, and I think having that environment is necessary to tell an amazing story. I think everyone has a great story to tell, and I hope I get a chance to tell mine.
I don't know how to change the mic. Signing up to do something by myself without knowing anyone else is a big fear of mine. I also don't like performing in front of audiences and am uncomfortable around strangers. I feel like I'm in a creative rut. I'd like to break out of my comfort zone and be more confident and comfortable around new people or in new situations. I'd also like to be better at doing things alone and meeting others without friends and family as a security blanket. I read 2 of my poems at an open mic night in November 2019. And I haven't read my work or let anyone else read my work since it was required for school. It was horrifying, but I'm really proud of myself for being vulnerable enough to do it anyway.
I think it would be good to stretch myself creatively and make new friends. I haven't performed in front of anyone in 20 plus years, and the idea of doing so is quite daunting. I'd like to get better at being comfortable in my own skin and happy with who I am. I'm proud that I have a 3+ year streak of doing the New York Times crossword puzzle every day. It's 5 now. Part of me is hoping you'll deny this application, but most of me is looking forward to the challenge.
A fear factor for me is that while I have experience with extemporaneous speaking, mostly in high school speech and debate on international political topics, nearly 25 years ago, I am hugely inexperienced with this type of performance and have never prepared personal writing for this reason. Effie fell into my lap in the middle of a personal storm. It's exactly the kind of experience that I need that I haven't been able to articulate on my own. I spend most of my personal and professional life in service to the needs of the goals of others, happily. That said, my human beingness could use some shaking up. I want to create and put something original in the world. FE is that vehicle. Doing so with others makes that all the richer of an experience.
My professional and academic life has largely dictated my interests and free time, so I'm looking for new ways to spend my time. In my personal life, I'm working on being more vulnerable. I'm also looking to make new friends and connections. A few scare factors. This is something totally different than I've ever done before. One of my scare factors is telling my friends and family about it because it's totally not me. Another scare factor is performing in front of an audience. I'm proud of overcoming anxiety and depression, graduating from college. I originally left after only 4 weeks and landing a job at an incredible school.
I love that I have a strong moral compass. One thing that I'm awesome at is visiting, dealing with, and/or helping other people's parents. I should probably be more patient with my mother. My fear is walking into a room and not knowing anyone, wondering what their first and second and third impression of me might be. Trusting others in a creative process. Being a participant in a program when my professional life is behind the scenes as an organizer. I have a pretty insular life. I hang out with the people I know, and we do similar things all the time. It's all pretty safe. FE feels anything but, and in a way that appeals to my creative side.
I have wanted to do Fear Experiment for a long time, but assumed that since I had a performing background, I wouldn't be accepted. I am looking for new experiences, new friends and community, and lots of laughs. Although I still perform occasionally singing, I'm incredibly hard on myself, and it takes a lot for me to work up the courage to do a show. I find as I get older, the box or boundaries of my life keep getting smaller, and I want to expand, not retract. I chose storytelling because I got a taste of it in science class and loved it, and I think I have a lot more stories to tell. I would like to be better at overcoming inertia. I'm a consummate planner and idea generator, but I'm not great at putting my fabulous ideas into action. I am so much happier when I'm engaged in activities and with other people, but I tend to hermit. And Fear Experiment makes sense for me because when I push my boundaries, I like to push them in a big way.
As soon as I saw FE, I felt myself light up with interest. I've been working the past couple of years on my own personal development, specifically in pushing myself past some of my fears and insecurities that in the past have held me back from doing things I wanted to do. There's something about the challenge of learning this new skill and then showcasing it for an audience that both appeals to and scares me a little. Hearing everyone talk about the community of friends and connections they've made through FE is another reason why I want to do this. I'm a somewhat introverted and shy person, so I don't really have a large network of friends in the city and would really love to have a community like the one described in FE. And as for why Broadway specifically, I love theater, and while I've never been a huge performer or dancer, it does feel like a way to revisit my younger self and her interests in a new and unique way that I haven't really tried to do in years. A big scare factor for me is the performance itself. I have been on stage before, but it's been several years and never in front of an audience this big. And it's pretty embarrassing to mess up on stage, so I'm afraid my nerves will get to me. I'm also nervous about asking friends and family to come to the show, especially since my network is not huge in Chicago. Love you too. Yeah, thank you. It's a little nerve-wracking to think I might ask or advertise for the show and no one would want to come. But either way, I'm honestly proud of myself for just applying. Even if I don't get it, I can at least say I tried and I didn't let the chance pass me by.
I want and need to do something that's all for me and my joy, especially with a supportive group of awesome people. I'm excited to have just turned 40, a year, and some now. But at the same time, I'm a single mom of an 8-year-old seeking my next career move and living with my retired parents. I chose storytelling because I know I have good stories to tell, but I'm at a loss for figuring out what they are or how to tell them in a compelling way. My fear is that I have no idea what to tell a story about, and then because stories are so personal, sharing that with an audience of hundreds is intimidating. I'm exceedingly proud that my son is now at or above grade level, academically and socially, after his dad and I divorced, which I'm also proud of.
Okay. I'm too lazy to pull this up. I want to do FE to do something totally terrifying and also exhilarating and life-changing. I did plays and musicals in middle school when everyone got a part. Singing and dancing on Broadway would have been a dream if I had the talent. I did choir through my sophomore year of high school, but then came a new teacher and tryouts, and I was cut. I get chills every time I watch Newsies and hear my favorite songs and have these visions of me on stage. Step Up, Pitch Perfect, Glee were all my favorites as they performed in unison as a group to create these beautiful sounds and moves. I want to feel good enough to be on Broadway for a night. Aww. What can I bring to the group? I smile a lot. I have an extensive glitter collection, and I love dressing up in costumes. I'm an awesome concert photographer. I love my big heart, spontaneity. I signed up for a trip to Cuba with a group of strangers within 5 minutes of receiving the email, and my openness to try new things. I'm nervous about the final performance, letting teammates down, forgetting. I have Lyme disease and what I call Lyme dementia, so my memory can really suck, and my brain can short circuit, which, since writing this 2 years ago, I'm officially in remission from Lyme, so thank you, 2021. After discovering that FE is a community, I instantly knew I was meant to find this. I keep finding the fortune in my house that says it's time to make new friends. I'm looking to fill my life with more positive people.
I want and don't want to do FE because I have terrible public speaking anxiety and just general fear of living my life. Typically, my coping mechanism has been to meticulously over-prepare for presentations and work events so that my mouth can move on its own while my brain and my body are in fight or flight. Unfortunately, I was recently in a meeting where I was put on the spot for something I wasn't prepared for, and my mind went totally blank. Improv specifically was recommended to me to practice thinking on my feet. I've been in a bit of a rut lately, and in watching the video of past participants, I really identified with a lot of the issues they brought up. I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm recognizing that I need to be vulnerable to make positive change in one area that I hope can carry forth into others as well. I also hope to build confidence and self-worth to make a more impactful contribution in my work and my community. I often find that my fear holds me back from even the littlest ways of helping others. I'm a monster. The other day at the grocery store, I noticed someone that uses a wheelchair making a difficult reach for a shelf and wanted to offer help, but I was too afraid to approach them. And also, maybe they didn't need help. But I realize this experience doesn't take the place of therapy, but I also know from the public speaking opportunities I've had that sometimes just doing the thing you fear the most makes it less scary, which I assume is akin to the ethos of FE. I would also like to expand my social network and make new friends. All that to say, I have drunk the Kool-Aid. My fear? Every single thing about it. Making a fool of myself, being in front of people, meeting a bunch of strangers, going around a circle and saying my name, failing. I'd like to be better at being kind to myself, believing in myself, contributing, talking in front of people, taking up space, thinking on my feet, and not feeling like I'm going to pass out when speaking in front of others.
I feel a bit stuck in life. Most of my close friends have moved away since college, and I'm a little afraid to figure out where I want to be and what I want to do next. I almost never take risks or put myself out there anymore. The timing is great for me, as the beginning of the year is when I get less busy at work and tend to get bummed about the cold and hole up and avoid leaving the house. I chose Broadway because I adore musical theater and would have loved to pursue that as a career if I'd had the talent, training, and confidence to do so. I'm also pretty afraid of singing and dancing in front of people as an adult. But growing up, playing the violin, I used to love the rush of performing and would love to coax that feeling out of myself again. I'm not really very comfortable in my body, so learning to move it in an entertaining/rhythmic way in front of people does scare me. I have a pretty good sense of humor about myself and about life, and I've been doing a lot of work lately to find more joy in everyday life. This would be part of that. I'd like to be better at making friends and socializing as an adult. I am proud of myself for applying to FE honestly and for wanting to make a change in my life in 2020.